early 60s along in there. There was, Russ Snowberger came out here from Federal Engineering, and he's the one that furnished the car for Louis Unser, a Maserati that he drove. That was also a Federal Engineering car. And Johnny Morrow, of course, was in Denver, and that was about the size of it for out-of-town stuff.
My experience down at the hill climb was, it was fun to go down there because the people were so good to you.
Many drivers from Indianapolis that came up there and wouldn't even run because it scared them. You know, Parnelli Jones was one that took to it right away. I mean, he loved it, and he was a good race car driver, so it showed up there. Mario Andretti, you know, and there was a lot of them that came up there. But there was Roger McCluskey that came up there one time, and he was going to run, and he said, "You guys can have this place," and he went home.
I don't really recall too much resentment, but there was a little bit from time to time from people, and then, you know, then I know just talking with Al and, you know, the Unser family, I'm sure there was a little rough edges there a little bit when we started doing well and winning some races, and then some of the newspapers start saying, well, maybe we should change the name to Mears Mountain instead of Unser Mountain, and so I'm sure that didn't go over very well.
If you came in from the outside, like I did, you never really felt like you really knew the hill.
I drove the upright, the ones in the museum, and Mario drove the rear engine car. Now, mine broke on him, but it was fast until it broke. But this is also where I met Parnelli. I brought Parnelli up here also, driving for, I think it was Mercury in those days. And I taught him the hill climb, and in turn we became very good friends.
I didn't feel that in any way that I was not welcome. I thought we were welcome because we were part of, I think, USAC, which is the same organization. I think Bobby Unser, because he went to Indianapolis, helped close that door.
When Bobby Unser came here and drove in the stock car class, I think it was for his first time, and he showed up in this multi-$1,000 car, you know, factory sponsorship, and just blew the field away with, you know, the most innovative, you know, thing available that a person could drive. I mean, he was 30 or 40 seconds ahead of everybody else. And that's discouraging.
When you see somebody that's getting special tires, he's got more horsepower, he's got a better engine, a better car, and it's coming from not around here, there was no local people involved in building it, you're going to have animosity. And it's always been there, and it always will be.
When it was first started in 1916, it had an incredible amount of, you know, national and international flavor. And that continued, you know, probably through the late 50s, early 60s. And I think a lot of that disappeared through the 70s. You know, it was very local race, and, you know, that's where it sort of was hurt in a sense, and the race almost died.
Rennie LeBecq and Jean Trevaux will challenge the hill in their Talbot. Trevaux slides around the last turn and takes the checkered flag.
They did get Audi involved, and Michelle Mouton came over and broke the record.
She comes to Pikes Peak, driving a modified Audi Quattro.
She really uses the throttle. I mean, she's really not afraid of that mountain at all.
Her record-setting victories stretch from the European Alps to the back roads of Monte Carlo.
Michelle was a woman of masculine characteristics. She was rough and tough, a beautiful woman, beautiful.
But that kind of riled me a little bit.
Bobby Unser, he didn't think that was quite right to have the Unser record gone, and by a woman, and by a foreign woman.
And I kept thinking about Pikes Peak, kept thinking about Mouton, the French girl, kept thinking about that car that made them funny noises, see?
After not competing at Pikes Peak for the previous 12 years, Bobby Unser, at age 52, returns to Pikes Peak. His challenge, to reclaim his throne.
And I just loved it. It made me feel like I belonged in this world again. It gave me what I had all my life, and all of a sudden lost when I quit racing.
With an Audi similar to Michelle's, his years of experience, and his unparalleled knowledge of the mountain, Bobby's climb must beat the Frenchwoman's time and every one of his own winning times in the past 30 years.
It was so much fun. It was the most fantasy thing. It was very similar to the 1968 run with my brother, where we were like a factory team because of what Louis brought to the table. Well, this is what I had with Audi.
I think that's what really started the drive for Audi to do what they did on Pikes Peak, and then all of a sudden Peugeot got really excited. We have continued to draw a lot of interest from Japan, and this year we've got like 6 or 7 teams coming again from Japan to run in those various divisions.
昨年6度目の挑戦で見事クラス優勝、コースレコードを達成した田島選手。いよいよ今年からは総合優勝を目指し。
If you look at the old interview that they had with Harry Vatanen up there, he said it probably better than anybody's ever said it. He says, boys, he says, you Americans, he says, you don't realize what you have here. He says, we have 50 hill climbs in Europe. Nobody's ever heard of them because they're all on asphalt. Nobody cares. He says, Pikes Peak is the only one in the world that's on dirt. And he said, you Americans don't appreciate it. He says, those of us in the rest of the world, we do appreciate it because we know it's the only one left.